In this video, we're going to take a look at Pilot Mixable Blue Black. Now, as always, there's timestamps down below so you can skip around, but if you've got the time, I'd appreciate you checking out the entire video. Also, if you're interested in different blue-black inks, there's a link to that playlist down in the description. I'm an ink guy, and let's get into the first writing sample done on 90 GSM Clairfontaine. No bleeding, no ghosting. We get no feather, spread, halo sheen, a couple of shade spots that do show up in the extra fine, not in the stub or the medium, and the extra fine is lighter than the stub and medium. The extra fine took 20 seconds to dry, while the medium took 24. Scrubby for both give no color variation, although there's a few spots of it in the extra fine. And the smear test, you couldn't recover if you smeared while you were writing. To have a range of experience with this ink, all of the writing samples are done with a Jinhao 159 with a 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a medium, and a Jinhao X750 with an extra fine. Then a Kaweco 475 with a flex nib was inked up, used for day, and used to take the notes for this video. The next writing sample is done on 52 GSM Tomoe River. We get no bleeding, but quite a bit of ghosting. Thin paper, dark ink, not a problem. We get no feather, spread, halo sheen, no shade, only the slightest tone variation on the extra fine. It's a little bit lighter than the stub or the medium. The extra fine took 24 seconds to dry, while the medium took 33. The scrubby for both give no color variation. There's none in the writing, and the smear test you could not recover if you smeared while you were writing. I agree with Vita. There's a lot to learn by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. A line of ink is put down, and then it's put into water for 10 to 15 seconds. And there is the beginning of a forming of a line there, and it's pushing its way up away from the water and gathering a very dark at the top. I really don't see any blue in this. Now, the one on the right is let dry for 10 minutes before it's dunked in the water, and it is a fairly even covering all the way up. I'm not sure what to expect for resistance from this ink, to be honest. The next writing sample is done on 80 GSM Rhodia dot pad. No bleeding, minor ghosting at the stub, but that's about it. We have no feather, spread, halo sheen, no shade, no tone variation, very black looking. The extra fine took 17 seconds to dry, while the medium took 19 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both give us no color variation. We got none in the writing, and the smear test you couldn't recover if you smeared while you were writing. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on a page, and more importantly, how hard it may be to clean from your pen. The smear is allowed to dry for 3 days before testing it. Now, just starting off looking at this, it's important to realize that all of my sample stuff is kept together. So where I see some of the blue here, on the right third of this swatch, I don't see it anywhere else, but it does let me know that I didn't accidentally test black. Highlighter, we do see the slightest bit of blowout at the top of the capital H. I don't think that's probably the end of the world here. You could feel safe using it in a note-taking situation. Now, for as slow as that chromatography moved on the second one, I'm not surprised what happens with water, where it's only lifting some of the top of the ink, but leaving plenty of it behind. Pen flush is really breaking this ink down, showing a lot of the paper coming through, although luckily it only took water to get it out of that vintage pen. 1/3 bleach solution does completely remove it, but it also discolors the paper a little bit. The next writing sample is done on yellow Rhodia paper. Not done to see performance change, much more to see what's going on for tone variation. I was really hoping to be able to lighten it up and maybe see a little bit of the blue. We don't. This is a very opaque ink. It is absolutely unaffected by the different tones underneath and continues to show up as a very black-leaning blue-black. For the inks tested, the average viscosity is 2.5, and the realm of normal is 2.1 to 2.9. Pilot's Mixable Black has a viscosity of 1.53, making this a wet ink. The next writing sample is done on life paper. No bleeding, no ghosting, we get no feather, spread, halo sheen, and no shade. The extra fine does show as just a tad bit lighter than the stub or the medium. Medium's the same tone as the stub. The extra fine took 18 seconds to dry, while the medium took 23. The scrubby for both give us no color variation, and we got none in the writing. In the smear test, you could not recover if you smeared while you were writing. For the inks tested, the average dry time is 17 seconds, with a realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. Pilot's Mixable Blue Black has an average dry time of 23 seconds, so be patient because it takes a little bit longer than normal to dry. The last writing sample is done on Levenger paper. No bleeding, no ghosting. We get no feather, spread, halo sheen, no shade in any of it. The extra fine does show as a little bit lighter than the stub and the medium, while they're the same tone. The extra fine took 8 seconds to dry, and the medium took 10, both very respectable times. Scrubby for both give no color variation, and there is none in the writing. And the smear test, you still don't stand a chance to recover if you smear while you're writing. Instead of finding inks that look like Pilot Mixable's Blue Black, I'd prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. Since this is really a very black blue black, I decided to go with a blue that wasn't blue, a turquoise, and I went with Diamine Turquoise. Now, if you'd prefer a different complement color, then down in the description are links to those playlists. So what do I think of Pilot's Mixable Blue Black? A very black-leaning blue black, which I don't care for. It's my preference in blue blacks. And I don't see blue black as a useful color for mixing inks, but I could be wrong. So what nib and pen are going to give the best writing experience with this ink? First, embrace it as a black ink, not a blue black, and go with a wet fine to get a good solid dark black the whole time, and then you'll be happy. Just put a little piece of tape over the blue part like you used to the flashing 12 on the VCR. I hope you got something out of this video, and in the next video we're going to take a look at Diamine's Espresso.